Hello, my name is Candice and welcome to Candy Creations. And in this video, I'm going to recycle some items to be used as storage in my craft room. So without further ado, let's get crafting. So I have this blue basket here. It's been in my craft room for a while, but it doesn't quite go with the neutral colors I'm going with. So I'm going to use this white spray paint and just cover the whole basket inside and out. So now that my basket is dry, I wanted to add some warmth to the look of the basket. So I'm adding this brown jute twine that I have, and I'm going to wrap it around the basket about 5 or 6 times. This twine is a bit husky, so I'm just going in with my scissors and just trimming off all the excess strings that are sticking out. For this next project, I'm going to use some recycled tins that I washed clean, and I'm going in with a gesso which has a bit of a grit to it, so even though it's going on this smooth surface, it would still have some roughness for my top coat paint to stick to. Now for my top layer, I am using house paint, and I use a lot of this because I get more for my money rather than buying a tube of acrylic paint. So what I'm using it for, it works fine for this. So I'm just going over all my tins with a white paint, and then I'm coming in with a blue accent just to put some stripes on the tins. I need something to hold all my 3 tins together, so I'm using this broom handle and just cutting it down to the size that I want, and then I'm going to paint it with the same white paint and then come in with a little accent of the same blue at the top. I could just attach these tins to the stick using glue, but because I know I may be moving this around quite a lot, I'm going to bore some holes in them, and I would use the holes to put screws in them. At this point, I just remembered that I forgot to bore a hole at the top of the stick because I want to thread some string through there to use as a handle. Because the screws were only to the top of the pan, the bottoms of the pan were still a bit loose, so I went in with some hot glue and just stuck them to the stick. And here you would see I'm just going in with my jute string just to tie a loop so that I can move it around better. Now moving along to the next project, I'm going to cover this box in fabric just to make it look a little more classy. And the fabric that I'm using is pretty inexpensive. The first one you see there is called David's Lino. And for the top, I'm going to use some brown cotton, and they're both pretty inexpensive. To attach my fabric, I'm just going in with my glue gun and I'm only applying it to the edges of my box. And I'm just making sure this fabric is smooth in between. And then I'm just doing the same to the next face of the box. Reaching to the end of my box, I'm just going to tuck in the ends and glue it down so you don't see the ravel at the end. And then I'm just going to trim the excess at the bottom. So you may have noticed I left a space to the top of my box. So that's where I'm going to put the brown cotton. And I'm just going to put it around to the top of it as an edging. Now I'm going to cover another box this time using brown paper. But honestly, when I started this project, I didn't quite have a plan as to how I wanted it to look at the end. I was just trying to use a cheaper material to cover a box and make it still look nice. So I'm just going with the flow on this one. Honestly, I knew that spray glue would have been best for this part, but unfortunately I did not have any on hand, so I went ahead and used regular white paper glue and I pasted it on as best as I can. But after I did start to stick it on, there were some bubbles that came up because I didn't apply glue to every inch of the box. So seeing how bad the bubbles were appearing, I needed to keep in mind whatever pattern that I was going with had to be able to cover the fact that there are bubbles there. thought of covering my box with a leaf pattern. So my first step was to go in with some green spray paint, and then once this is dry, I went in with my leaves and that I had flattening, and I just placed them around the box, and then I went over that now with some copper and gold spray paint just to highlight the outline of the leaves. When it was done, I thought it looked a little too dark for the look that I wanted in my craft room. So I went over it lightly with some white spray paint, and it sort of lighted up, and then I went in and put a few white speckles on it, and I found that gave it a bit of a lift. I then cut out some leaf patterns with some gold foil that I had, and I applied it on the box just to highlight the leaf patternness of the box, because some of the leaf patterns were a bit distorted from the spray paint. Even after this, I was still struggling with the color a bit, so I thought maybe if I covered it with this creamish off-white paper just to the bottom of it, I know I would lose some of the pattern, but just to brighten up the box a bit, to lift the color, I thought that it added a nice accent to it. Well, that last box really was challenging, but I really like the way it came out, and I think I will keep it around my craft room for a while. So I hope you guys did get a few tips and tricks and ideas on what to do with some of those boxes and pans that you all might be throwing away. It's a neat idea on having creative storage on a budget. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.